Welcome to Uncomfortable Conversations with Sadie. That's me, your host, Sadie. And I found my calling in life, which is making people feel uncomfortable. And I do that by, I do it in a lot of ways, but one of my favorites is uncomfortable conversations. So I thought, what better way to spread my gift and talent to everyone and try to reach a wider audience. So that's why I'm starting this podcast, to make as many people as I can feel uncomfortable. I'm just a very selfless person and I just want to share my gifts, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not really gonna plan anything on this podcast or anything that I say, because I don't do that ever. I never think about anything before I say it. So I also thought this would be a good outlet for me to just get out everything that I say to people, and maybe I can have more normal interactions and just get it all out here. I actually was talking to my dad about this a couple weeks ago, and he was like, you don't think about anything you're saying before you say it. And I'm like, well, yeah, why would I? And it really got me thinking, is this a good thing or a bad thing that I don't think about anything I say before I say it? And a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, oh, well, yeah, that seems like it would be a good thing, to not have a filter and just say whatever's on your mind, and, people like that. But I don't think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people think that they, the idea of it sounds nice, but then when they're experiencing it, they don't like it. And with me, I feel like part of the reason why I don't think about anything I say before I say it, maybe, is because I did acting for a while. I started when I was 14 till I was 21, but I didn't really book any jobs. So I basically just tried to be an actor, and I never became one. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. But anyways, in acting, in acting class or whatever, you if you have a scene partner, for example, and you just met, you don't really have time to get to know each other or connect on a certain way. But then it's you have to do a scene as if you're in love, or if this person broke your heart or whatever it is. And so in different acting classes, they have you do certain exercises to help you emotionally connect with someone, or have a deeper connection with them, or understand them in some kind of way. And so I remember one of my acting classes in LA, everyone was different ages, from different places. We were all couldn't be more different. And so you would meet this person, and within 30 seconds you're telling each other your biggest insecurities, your secrets, painful experiences, and all these things. And it was really cool because you could connect with someone so quickly, and you don't know any of the surfacey things about them, but you've been able to establish a meaningful, deep connection with this person who's so different from you, and you have nothing in common, and you didn't talk about any of the surfacey things, and you just cut right to the chase, and you have a connection with them. And I think I just realized this is so cool. And especially when I lived out in LA, I had very little human interaction because I was alone all the time, and I would talk to myself a lot. So when I had an opportunity to connect with someone, I was so excited, and I'm I want to get everything I can out of this interaction to connect with someone. You don't realize how much you need that when it's hard to come by. So I think I started just doing that in everyday life, like trying to establish, not like, maybe it was more subconsciously, but like trying to establish like more meaningful connections right away. And I'm like making this way more deep than it really needs to be, but I'm just trying to like psychoanalyze myself. But I feel like that's what I was doing maybe because I started like, anytime I would talk to someone, I would immediately say something really inappropriate or just vulgar or really uncomfortable, or I just shared so much information that's way too intimate to share with someone the first time you're meeting them. And it's almost like just became like a knee-jerk reaction that like the second I meet someone, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Here is all my insecurities and my childhood issues. Do you want to be best friends? So that just kind of became my thing, and it was weird because in a way, like, it helped me too. Like, if you know, I don't know, like if I was embarrassed or shy or whatever, like my whole theory in life is like, pretend like you're doing things on purpose and then people think you're confident. So it's like, you know, if I felt embarrassed, then I would pretend like I was doing something on purpose that was embarrassing, or like I just try to make fun of myself first so no one else can. And so far it's worked out really well. It's worked out really well for me. And yeah, I don't know, I guess that's just kind of my philosophy on life, is bully yourself before anyone else can. Be your own worst nightmare. And that's what I am to myself. And it's fun because I can't ever get away from myself, and I'm my own worst nightmare, and I created my own monster. So it's just a really fun thing I do. But in doing that, it almost like takes away this fear or anxiety of like, what are people thinking of me, and how am I being perceived? And so like when I first meet someone or I'm having these different interactions, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, like, are they judging me? Are they thinking this? I almost like make sure they are, like whatever they might be thinking, I bring it up to the table and I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. I know it seems like I'm probably drunk right now, but just so you know, I'm not. It's just my personality. Tell me about all your insecurities. And I think a lot of times people feel frustrated, you know, like everyone's like, oh, like, you know, when you go to parties or this or that, and they're like, oh, I'm sick of it, like, I hate having, you know, small talk or just dumb conversations. But then I'm like, you can change that. Like, I don't remember the last time that I allowed a conversation to happen that was like, hey, how are you? What's up? Like, what's new? Are you in school? Are you working? Like, I'm like, my body like, that's what makes me uncomfortable, is like when I know I could connect with someone better or have like a more exciting, fun conversation, but we're having a way more surfacey conversation that's like uncomfortable for both of us. And so it's like, seems so obvious to me that I'm like, oh, if I purposely make this conversation uncomfortable as soon as possible, then it almost is like all that judgment or worry or anxiety, like, it goes away. And then it's like, I don't know, there's something just so beautiful about feeling uncomfortable. And I feel like I've become an expert at it, and I just thrive when I feel uncomfortable. And I feel like that's when the real, like, your real personality comes out, when you feel uncomfortable. And you just, I don't know, so I guess maybe that's like my calling in life, is to just provide that for people. Because I don't know, I've heard, you know, some quotes out there. I feel like people say, you know, like, to be successful you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And if that's true, then I'm extremely successful, because I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable, and I just want everyone to be as successful as me. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know, the thing that's interesting though, also, side note, I'm filming this too So if you're seeing the visual of this, you're probably extremely frightened because I have a huge black eye and stitches on my face. And that's a whole other story, but it just happened a couple days ago, so just want to let everyone know that I look really scary right now. So I'm sorry if I'm making you uncomfortable, and by that I mean I'm not. You're welcome. Anyways, moving on to what I'm still talking about, I was thinking about this and I'm like, man, like, do I need to... Well, okay, so I know that making people feel uncomfortable when it comes to making new friends, I feel like that really helps me make new friends or make fast connections. So that aspect, I think it's good. But where it's not so good is when it comes to dating and getting guys to like me. Because when you're trying to make someone fall in love with you, apparently it doesn't happen when you make them feel uncomfortable. So it's like a little different there, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't know, it's hard to navigate because, for example, like on a first date, and for me, I know this sounds weird, but like I genuinely really enjoy first dates and have a lot of fun on them, and like I feel like it's the easiest for me on a first date. That's when it's the easiest for me to be myself, like 100% who I am, and just like balls out to the wall. Is that his saying? I don't know. Just all me, no holding back. And that's how I'm like on a first date, and it's usually like the dates after that, if I ever go on those, which is rare, that it's like harder for me to be myself. So I almost do it backwards to how I think you're supposed to do it. Like on the first date, my mind is like, oh, you need to tell this person everything about you and all the past relationships you've been in, what's gone wrong, why you got broken up with, why your parents are disappointed, all these things. Like I feel like it's almost like there's a thing in my head or like whispering in my ear, like if I'm trying to have a normal conversation, I'm like, hey, what's up, how are you, like, yeah, I'm just super chill and down to earth. Like if that's what I'm talking about, then it's like there's something, a voice in my ear being like, no, you need to tell them what you're insecure about. You need to tell them everything that's wrong with you. You need to be like, it's almost like I feel like I'm lying and I'm gonna explode unless I tell them everything about me. And I'm realizing this sounds like crazy, and like it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, I'm so insecure. It's like I feel like I can do it in a way that, you know, like I said, make someone uncomfortable in a comfortable way. So it's like I have a way of almost easing into it where they're like listening to this wild information that I'm telling them, and it's almost like, I don't know, it's hard because I feel like fear and excitement kind of go hand in hand and they're similar feelings. And so like when I'm on a first date with a guy and I'm, you know, revealing so much information so quickly, it's like they're really actually scared, but then it's almost like it's exciting at the same time because they're like, what's going on, what's happening, I'm scared, I'm excited, I kind of want to keep listening, but like, should I run away? And I feel like, you know, with my charm and wit, it makes it seem like it's not scary. And my humility. So I think it's like on the first date, it weirdly goes really well, at least for me, because I feel like a lot of guys are maybe used to going on first dates that are awkward and uncomfortable, and you don't really get to know the person that well, and you don't really get a good read on them or what they're thinking. But then they're almost like, whoa, like when I'm like, hey, here's everything I'm thinking, tell me this, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like because I'm so open and sharing all this information, then they feel more safe to, you know, be themselves and be weird or literally by me making them feel uncomfortable, they feel more comfortable. So on the first date, it actually works. It seems like it's working well. And it's like, it really does establish a connection way quicker. And it's exciting. But then, after the date, when the date's over, and I think all the information and everything that happened really starts to settle in with the guy, he realizes that he's frightened and scared and is like, whoa, Sadie shared way too much information with me and moved way too fast. But see, that's the thing, like, it's like, I don't think sharing certain, like, it's, I don't know, I'm an extremely open person, so like, I share information with everybody. I'll meet someone and I'll share my whole life. Like, so to me, it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm being so vulnerable, I'm sharing this information with you. Like, it's like, I do that with everyone all the time, so that's normal to me. But when, like, if I'm on a date with a guy and he's not, like, used to girls being like that, it's like, it probably is exciting and they're like, oh, whoa, like, and they're, I don't know, it's like there is a connection there, but at the same time, it's like, I'm like, oh, this is normal, but they're like, what's, I don't know. But anyways, after the first date, then, like, I feel like they start getting really scared and they're like, oh, like, that's scary, like, she shared way too much information with me. I don't know, like, I just moved it it makes it seem like I'm moving things faster. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know. Like, it seems like on the date, it's like, oh yeah, this is going really well, we're connecting. But then it's like, after that, then they're like, wait, no, that wasn't normal. So I don't know, like, I'm trying to figure out if, not that I, I don't know, I guess what I'm saying is I want to try to maybe be more shy, be more mysterious. Like, I don't know how people don't share all their thoughts with people, because for me, it's like I feel like I'm lying if I don't tell someone everything. And that's not the case. Like, I know that it's not true, it doesn't mean you're lying, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, maybe I need to be more boring. I'm just too fun and charismatic and funny and witty, and I just need to be more boring. That's really why I can't get a boyfriend. It's because they're just like, no, you're just not boring enough. I don't know. Because this is the thing, like, obviously you might be thinking like, oh, well, why no one would ever want to be more boring. But I like sound like, I'm like, oh, poor me, I'm so like just fun and weird and crazy that it's like exhausting. I just want to be more boring. But you get it, you get what I'm saying. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, I guess, I don't know, if anyone has any idea of how to be more boring, please let me know. Please let me know, any guys out there, if you could help me understand why it scares you if girls open up to you really fast. Yeah, I don't get it, I don't know. But I'll leave that at that. And I think that concludes the first episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with Sadie. I hope I made you feel uncomfortable while you were listening to this. If I did, then my job here is done.